we give up on ourselves too easy. I've seen it in big races when I've been out there. I've seen it in business with clients I work with as well. Is when it gets hard, it's too easy to give up on yourself. But if you've got a
Yeah.
strong reason that you're doing this that's going to help others, or other people are going to be impacted by this, then you'll find a way of getting around that.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Excited to have Neil Thubron. Neil, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Todd. Yeah, thanks for having me along.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit about Neil. He's a high energy executive coach, leadership mentor, creator of the whiteboard value selling methodology. And Neil's has led global sale teams of over 450 people and now helps leaders and businesses really just unlock their full potential. Through what he's doing, through mindset, through value-based selling, through performance mastery. He's also an endurance athlete, author, and man, just an all-around overall good dude. So, Neil, I'm excited to jump in. Is there anything I missed that you want to make sure our listeners know?
No, I think the only other thing to mention is I'm a very proud grandfather of three grandchildren and a father of four.
Man, you look way too young to be a
That's very
grandfather.
kind,
So,
very kind.
well, it must be all that the working out and the endurance athletics that keeps you young. Tell me, what attracts you to that type of lifestyle?
Uh, Quite simply, it's about living life to the full. Every area of my life, I just want to live life to the full, and that means having as many experiences in this, however many decades I have on this planet. I want to have as many experiences as possible, and with as many people as possible as well.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what drives me towards that lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. What have you found that I don't know. I feel like it does is working out hard and just being intense and intentional about that aspect of your life. Have you felt like extreme sports and endurance sports has really helped you achieve bigger?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely 100%. Because every time I achieve something significant in endurance sports, whether that's distance I've covered or an event I've completed or a time I've done in a run or a race, it helps you grow. You've got this bubble that is your comfort zone, and every time you step outside that comfort zone, you don't just grow inside that one area. You realize I'm so capable of this, and therefore I'm probably capable of other things in other areas of my life as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to be honest, Todd, that's how I ended up leaving corporate life and ending up, working for myself for the last 11 years, because I was actually out in the Arctic doing a 300-mile foot race. And it was the second night when I'd been through this really tough night. And my mindset shifted to, look, if I can achieve these things in these kind of harsh conditions, then what else could I achieve in other areas of my life? And
Hmm.
that was why I said, actually, I need to leave corporate life and I need to go and carve my own furrow, or dig my own furrow.
Is that was the Yukon Arctic Ultra? Is
That's
that what
it.
it
Yeah,
was?
yeah, yeah. That's the one.
So that's crazy. So it was a run, a 300-mile run.
It's a foot race. So, well, actually, it's a foot race, and there are mountain bikes, and there are people on skis. But I was doing the foot race,
You're into the foot
and
race.
there's a tiny amount of running because you're pulling a sledge, a pulk with
Oh,
25
wow.
kilograms. So, and if you run too much, because you don't want to be sweating in the temperatures there. I mean, as you'll know from where you live,
Yeah.
it got down to minus 55 degrees on the first night. So that's centigrade. And so therefore, running wasn't a good idea because if you sweat, it just freezes. And so, no, it was mainly a walking 300 miles.
Wow. Wow. That's how long does it take you to do that? How many days?
So it took me 6 days, 19 hours, And there was about 8 hours of sleep in all of that.
8 hours of sleep in all of it?
Mm,
Oh
mm,
man. And where do you sleep? Do they
mm.
have like tent set up or something?
It's the first night I had to put my own tent up on the side of the trail and sleep, which is pretty scary in those conditions and in the middle of the night. They have outdoor aid stations where you then put up a tent at the aid station, and they had two indoor aid stations as well where you could roll out a mat on the floor and sleep.
In the Yukon. Are there polar bears up there?
No, there
Okay.
are they don't come that far south.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's lots of wolves up there. You see a lot of wolf footprints and the eyes shining in the night.
Wolves are harmless though. They're not good.
That's what the trappers told me. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just don't pet them. That's all.
Yeah.
You're fine. Wolves are harmless. So, that's wild. That's an amazing raise. What did you learn? Like, what's the biggest takeaway from that whole event?
Well, it was a life-changing moment. People talk about these life-changing. It was a life-changing moment coming out of that first night into going into the second night. And so it literally changed the whole course of my life at that point. So the biggest thing I took away was there are no limits on what you can achieve in life. Physically, it's easy to kind of set those goals and push those boundaries. But what else are the other things that I should be pushing boundaries on that I'm not today? So that was really what I took away, and I developed the thought process of how I can help others as well. I really wanted to use the rest of my working life then helping others achieve their unachievable goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody who has a goal. Most of us have goals. Most of us listen. Everybody listening probably likely has goals and is a driven person and wants to do more
Mm,
than they're already doing today. And wants to get to that next level. But a lot of times we hit this, like we're hitting this glass wall. Like we can see the other side. We know what it looks like. We want to get there, but like we just can't get through to the other
mm,
side. What are some of the key critical things that you help people with to get to break through that glass?
It's interesting description you've chosen there. Yeah, the wall and the glass. There's something personal behind that I can hear. Um, but yeah, yeah, you always have to start with why. And in the 7 P's which I talk about in my book, the first P is purpose.
Hmm.
And so if there's something in front of you that's stopping you moving forward, if you've got a strong enough purpose, and the strongest purposes are who are we doing this for that's not us? So we have our internal reasons why we're doing it for our own growth, our own experience, our own satisfaction. But if we've got external reasons why, who else are we doing this for? Then when we hit that wall, we don't go, well, I'm going to give up now.
Yeah.
What we do is we find a way around it, or
Yeah.
you find a way, or you find someone who can help you find a way around it, or
Yeah.
you
Because
find a way, someone who's got a ladder who can help you get over it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we give up on ourselves too easy. I've seen it in big races when I've been out there. I've seen it in business with clients I work with as well. Is when it gets hard, it's too easy to give up on yourself. But if you've got a
Yeah.
strong reason that you're doing this that's going to help others, or other people are going to be impacted by this, then you'll find a way of getting around that glass wall.
Yeah. 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 You're going to run into challenges. You're just going to, right? There's going to be
Correct.
times in your business where you're just like, oh my gosh, is it really worth it to keep on going? Uh, and you got to have that strong reason. If you don't, and you're just doing it for whatever, the money or whatever it might be, I mean, that's only going to go so far. You got to have a
Yeah.
real purpose. So I love that. What are some of the what are some of the others? What's the next P that you've got in
Okay.
the 7 Ps?
Yeah, well, I'm going to jump to the sixth P actually,
Okay.
because what you've just described is there's going to be hard times. And so the sixth P is pain. And
Hmm.
the pain is building up a pain strategy. So when you know you're going to hit those hard times, how are you going to handle them? And if you plan that in advance, plan that when you are getting ready for going ahead with whatever challenge, whether it's music you love, whether it's food you love, whether it's going for a run, or whether it's someone you can phone up and talk to that you trust and believe that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Having that pain strategy before you need it is one of the things that I think is really key.
Hmm.
Um, so the other piece, yeah. So basically, purpose is the first one. Second one is preparation. And one of the things I learned in the military, and I've learned it in sales as well, is you have to prepare specifically. Don't prepare generically. You have to prepare specifically for what you're gonna face. Third P is have a plan. There's no point in trying to step over a start line without having a plan and just hope it goes okay.
Right.
So have a plan. The fourth P is pledge. So once you step over that start line, then make a commitment to yourself, make a pledge that there is only one way, which is forward until I get to the finish, whatever happens. The fifth P is perception. So being aware of everything that's happening once you are on that journey towards that big goal. And are you getting the results you're expecting to get?
Hmm.
It is what the action you're taking moving you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so being percent, I call it the dashboard. Have your dashboard in your head of, am I getting are the readings I'm getting the right readings? Because no plan survives a contact with the enemy, as they say at Sandhurst. So once you step over that start line, things will change. The sixth P is pain, and the seventh P is persistence. You just keep going because you only ever fail when you give up.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I always, that's a big one that I talk to people about all the time is consistent persistence. It's like you've got to keep on going, right? You're gonna have setbacks. Like you're gonna have a lot of things that aren't gonna go right, but you got to have persistence to keep going. Otherwise, it's it's gonna be it's gonna be a failure, right? You're not gonna get there. So,
Yeah.
you know, perception. Are you getting the results you mentioned? What happens if you're not getting the results? What do you do?
Adjust the actions you're taking to achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
It's like if you're in sales and you're making loads of sales calls and you're using a script and you're not getting the results you want, change the script.
Hmm.
If you are running a business and you're hiring the wrong type of person, or you're consistently having issues with people, look at your hiring strategy, or look at the way you're managing or setting objectives for your team. Um, it's having that mindset that, with not being too rigid, that I built this perfect business plan, I built this perfect direction, and I'm not getting the results I want, but I'm going to keep going with it.
Yeah.
So the key is adjust.
Yeah. So it's not that you're giving up. You're
No.
adjusting. You're tweaking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The old analogy is, a plane, when a plane takes off, it's heading for a destination, but it's never on course until it lands, because it's
Hmm.
always having to adjust for the wind, for the direction that the plane's being taken.
All that. Um, let's talk a little bit about selling. You believe in value-led sales conversations. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, and I think this is a really important point, not just for businesses, but also for individuals.
Yeah.
People don't pay for the price you're charging; they pay for the value you're going to deliver. And that's true as an individual, with whether you're doing a job for someone or whether you're working for yourself. It's the value you're going to deliver. But where I would find most businesses struggle is to be really clear on the value that their product or service is actually delivering to the customer, to the end customer. So they understand the features, they understand the benefits of the features, but how does that really articulate into business value?
Hmm.
And there are two types of business value that I talk about. There's logos value and pathos value. So logos value is your logical value. So that's your dollars and cents. And then your pathos value is the emotional value. And you need both to be successful in selling yourself or selling your product and service.
Give me an example of of that. What it
Mm,
Logos and Pathos. Give me an example. Why are they both important? And yeah, let's
okay.
break it down a little bit.
Yeah. So let me give you an example of a business that I'm working with at the
Yeah.
moment. So they sell communication solutions to maritime vessels. Um, and it's a real commodity market. Now,
Mm.
they have some uniques in their solution, which the competition doesn't have. And that mainly revolves around things like security and speeds and availability globally. So why might that be important to a maritime? So if you have crew on board that want to have access to being able to speak to their family at home, just as an example, right? Or they want to be able to get online to have a home life experience. That is valuable because crew will stay with ships that have that service and they'll leave those ships if it doesn't have that service. So the business value is you're reducing the number of staff that leave the ship. Or it might be that from a safety point of view, you have CCTV cameras on board that then give you value because your insurance goes down if you've got live feeds on board to protect the safety of the crew. So you're looking for dollar value that is being delivered to the bottom line. And it comes in one of two ways. You're either helping them increase their revenue, so they're able to access more customers or sell to more customers or sell at a higher price, or you are helping them avoid costs or reduce costs.
Yep.
So that's the logos value.
Yep.
The pathos value might be, the chief people officer is sleeping better at night because they don't have to worry about crew that are in an unsafe environment or crew that are going to leave and go somewhere else. So the pathos value is specific to an individual rather than to the business.
Yeah. It means it doesn't make you any money necessarily, but I mean,
No,
kind of, right? The crew is feels pretty good. They're not going to leave, right? But in reality, it's not like that's not making the money. That's making
no. So
people sleep well at night.
you can't build a return on investment up based on pathos.
Yeah.
You can build it up based on logos,
Yeah.
and you need both because decisions are made in the right part of the brain, the emotional part of the brain, and they're supported by logic in the left part of the brain.
Yeah.
So that's really key that you have both because if you're just focusing on logic, you're missing out on the emotion.
Yep. 100%. I work with a lot of investors,
Yep.
and a lot of people will tell you, well, investors only care about the dollars and cents. They don't make emotional decisions. And I have found that to be completely the opposite, quite frankly. Investors care more about the emotional decision than they do about the logical decision. The logical decision, the money, the dollars and cents does go into it. Certainly it plays a factor into it. But after that, it's all emotional. It's all emotion based.
Yeah.
Just how it is. It's how
Yeah.
people are wired to want to feel good.
And to and people don't realize because this is unconscious. A lot of this because 95% of our brain is unconscious and 5%
Yeah.
is conscious.
Yeah.
So we don't realize that those emotions are there. But when they do tests and they put these scanners on people's brains and they get them to make simple decisions, they see the emotional part of the brain light up
Mm.
fractions of a second before the logical part of the brain. But you need both. Okay, so the if you haven't uncovered enough of the logos value,
Yeah.
then you can't present a price that justifies that value.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that you put those together. Is that part of you have the what we I introduced you this sorry the
The
sales
value selling methodology,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, value sell method. That I'm assuming that the whiteboard value selling method, that's a big part of that.
Yeah, so the whiteboard value selling method is basically a structure for asking questions of a customer or prospect,
Hmm.
helping really uncover what's important to them, not just what do they need, but what's really important to them. So what's their goal? Why is that important to them? What's holding them back from getting there? And then uncovering the value that if you address that need or that opportunity, what value is that going to bring them? So that you can then articulate the value before you present the price. I mean, that's in summary, that's it.
Yep. Yep. When you're approaching somebody to sell them on an investment, to sell them on a product, to sell them on whatever it might be, um, what's the what would you say is the most important maybe first step or two? Maybe it's three steps. I don't know. But what's that the most important starting point for people to be considering? That's where you
Okay.
mess up, right? It's a starting point.
Yeah,
And
and
maybe
great question. I'm pleased you put it in the frame of the starting point. So we are selling to human beings. We are building connection with human beings, and people buy from people they like. People like them. So that's a really important phrase because we buy from people we like, so that we have a relationship with, that we feel comfortable with, that we feel we can trust. But the way we build connection is through building rapport. And one of the things I teach is how do you build that fast, quick connection with the rapport? And it's the words you use, it's the tone and the speed of the words you use, it's your physiology and your facial expressions. So the start is build that connection as fast as possible.
Mm,
And the best way of doing that is those three things. It's the words, it's the tone or speed of how you're saying the words, and then it's your
yeah.
physiology. And then you can start really being curious about the person in front of you and asking them questions about them,
Mm,
about what's important to them. So it's not starting with, I'm here to sell you this.
yeah, yeah.
It's about the human, and then it's about being curious about understanding them.
Yeah, I think that's everybody wants to talk about their I think it's just maybe it's just human nature. It's got to be because we all want to talk about ourselves. I feel like so much, and we think that oh wait, I'm really good at telling people about this, and I'm excited about it, and so I'm going to talk about it, and that doesn't get other people excited. For very few people, at least, you're not going to connect with most people if that's what your approach is. I was at a conference
Mm.
the other day, and I met this guy, and I was talking to him, and he's like he's this investor in a pool of guys that are trying to find investors, and he's just like, I feel like I'm the meat. Just like a
Yeah,
shark swimming around me.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it's like I thought I just found it interesting because it's like I made a pretty good connection with this guy because I didn't talk about anything. I didn't talk about me, and it's just like people don't understand that. And the first thing they want to do is talk about their product, what they're
Yeah,
selling, what they
yeah,
got,
yeah.
and it's all about them. And it's like, no, this is has nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with this person. Quite frankly, in my opinion, and maybe you've got a different opinion, but if you're selling something, your goal should be to sell to only people that actually can use your product and benefit
Oh,
from it.
so look, I've been in sales for 40 plus years.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is an absolute fact is you cannot sell something to someone that doesn't value or want what you're selling them. And so, there is no point in wasting your effort doing that. But the only way you uncover that is by connecting with them and asking them questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and they have to be questions that are relevant to what you're selling. They have to be
Sure.
questions that, you're trying to understand them, yet that's fair. But then you're asking questions about that might be relevant to what you are trying to position in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And if you're just selling and maybe you hook that person, that probably becomes your biggest critic when they buy something that they didn't really have a need
Yeah.
for, and now they're giving you a bad review. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and they become the difficult customer
yeah, they become a
in the
difficult
long run,
customer.
and it becomes the one that absorbs all your time, or yeah, or they yeah, as you say, they give you a poor review, and so the best work with people who want to work with you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's talk quick about goals.
Mm, mm,
Setting goals is, in my opinion, extremely important, but it's only as valuable as the plan that you put forth and being able to follow those goals and that plan. So talk to me about, maybe your strategy for setting goals, and then
mm.
not beyond the just the goal setting. I want to make sure we dive into the critical factor is how do we actually achieve those
Yeah.
goals too? How do we actually make sure that we're not just setting goals? A lot of people, I think, just set goals and then they forget about them and they go to the side. So we don't want to do that. Definitely.
So they're not really goals, they're dreams, they're ideas,
That's true.
and so the one of the questions I always work on with coaching clients is asking them, what do you want? And I, especially someone who's looking to transition from corporate life to doing their own thing, or they're looking to uh, progress in a career. And when you ask someone what they want, what you hear so much is what they don't want. I don't want to
Mm.
be doing this sort of job. I don't want to be traveling. I don't want to spend
Mm.
more time away from the family. I don't want to have a big team. Or so you get a big long list of what people don't want. So
Yeah.
the first thing is there are you said everyone has goals. There are people who have like these intentions or dreams, but very few actually are really clear on what does that actually look like and where are they going.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm glad you brought that clarity up. Like a lot of people have ideas, like you said, dreams, thoughts, but they haven't really dove into it, like you just said.
Yeah, and so once you're clear on those goals, right? And I set so there's a long-term intention of where you want your life to go and how you
Yeah.
want to experience life, and there are goals that help you go along that journey to get you there.
Okay.
And so
So do
at the
you
beginning,
set that first? Do you set that long-term vision?
yeah, so for me, my long-term vision is like living life to the full, where and experiencing as many things as I can with as
Yeah.
many people as I can with and having wonderful experiences with my family and things like that. So that's like a vision, I guess you put, and then it's got goals that support the vision.
Okay.
And every year I set goals for different parts of my life. And there could be, I think last year I did something like 22 goals I set at the beginning of the year. And the next question you asked was how do you make sure you achieve them? And this is the thing that again a lot of people struggle with, and I'll share how I do it. So the way I do it is firstly, um, schedule. If I've got a goal to want to do something, let's say I've got a goal to want to run a race in a certain time, or enter a particular event, or go on a particular vacation, or have an experience with the family. When do I want to do it? Get it in the calendar, even if it's not paid for it, but get the intention in the calendar. So scheduling makes goals real. That's the first thing. Second thing is vision boards, and build a vision board. Behind this picture of you on here, I have a vision board, which is my screensaver. And one of the things I did last year, which was incredibly powerful, was I took pictures of all my goals and I put them on one of those digital picture frames. So like a digital picture frame, and it has pictures that come up every few seconds.
Yeah.
So I have that down here next to my desk. So all my goals I'm seeing all the time. It's
Mm.
like it came from the US intelligence service in the army. It's like brainwashing. You're just constantly seeing these pictures
Mm.
of things that you want to achieve.
Hmm.
So then when you look at it, you see it, you go, actually, I haven't done anything to achieve that goal of doing this thing with my wife. Right.
Yeah.
Put it on my things to do list today and let's get it in the calendar. Let's get that booked. So you keep getting reminded of the goal. So set them, schedule them, visualize them. Those are three key pieces. And then the other thing that I do that works and I encourage my clients to do is every Sunday, sit down, look at the goals, read through them, reconnect with why that was important, and then look at the week ahead and go, right, what can I do to move these goals forward?
Yeah.
And those, honestly, people go, how do you achieve so much in a year? Well, that's pretty much the formula that I've just taken you through there.
Yeah. No, I love two parts of that. Well, I mean, the whole thing was good. Don't get me wrong, right?
Yeah.
But I got two things that I really like, and I gotta do this. That digital picture frame idea. That's really cool. Like seeing that and to be able to go, okay, yeah, that it just like you said, you're kind of like brainwashing yourself, but you're
It is.
seeing it every day. So
Yep.
you're reminding yourself every single day of the intentions, the goals that you set forth, and then I love the every Sunday. Like every Sunday, I go and I create my weekly calendar. Now it's already been created, throughout the week, but I write it all down actually on that's just my habit. I write
Yep.
it down on a notebook piece of paper Monday through Friday, what I'm gonna do. And it's like time block, right? That's a perfect time for me to actually take out my goals and go, okay, now let me match out my goals with my time blocking.
Yep.
And am I actually time blocking things to achieve my goals? Because a lot of times I, I and my listeners and many other people are getting distracted by the noise of the week. And so we might time block a bunch of, you know, time that just it's not what we want to really achieve. It's just the busyness that life has set aside or set in front of us, right? And it's like, no, can we get rid of maybe some of that time block? What we actually want to achieve on that Sunday. I love that. So I love that those two are great.
And I think the key with that time blocking or making sure so Stephen Covey talked about putting the big rocks in first.
Yeah,
Put the big rocks in the glass first before you put. So, and if you look at the Eisenhower matrix, all those things that are goals are in the top right-hand quadrant. They're this
mm,
not urgent and important things.
yep,
And so, again, I do this personally and I do it with all my clients is put the big rocks in first. And the big rocks are those goals because
yeah,
then your life will fit around it. The emails, the teams meetings, the other stuff,
yeah,
but put those big rocks in and make them immovable.
yeah. No, I love that. There's always the small stuff that's you could fill your day with all that little crap,
Yeah.
and you never feel like you got anything done, or maybe you do. Sometimes you feel like, oh, I got so much done, but you look back and go, okay, never mind, I got nothing done. I know that's happened to me plenty of weeks. I'm sure it's happened to you too.
It's just
Uh,
being human, right? And that's why you have to have that discipline around your
yeah,
your, your diary.
yeah, that's great. What's a mistake that you have made, and how have you learned from it? How can you pass that down to our listeners?
A mistake that I
Or maybe it's
have.
a mistake that you commonly see your clients make too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I recognize in me one of the mistakes that I've made since I've been doing what I'm doing in the, working for myself, and I'm still making it, is trusting other people to do what I do. And so bringing other people in to do the delivery of the sales training or of my coaching. And I've really struggled with that over the last 11 years. And that's a mistake, right? Because if you want to scale, you can't keep everything as the founder and do everything
Yeah,
yourself. What mistakes do I see others making? So it depends on who I'm working with. So if I'm working with a entrepreneur who's growing a business and they've brought me in to help them grow into the leadership role they need to become, it's similar. They find it difficult to let go. So they want to be involved in everything rather than trust their team below them to manage it. So, and that takes strategy, mindset. There's lots of support needed there to help someone
yeah,
whose baby is their business
yeah,
step away. And I've started working with some PE firms now, helping when businesses are bought,
mm,
helping to transition the founder away from being the business so
yeah,
that the PE firm can bring in a professional team to run the business. So I think that's the kind of mistake I see there. And I think the mistake I see when I'm working with corporates, so if I'm working with the board of a corporate, is that people limit their thinking by the role they're in and by the division they're in. They don't realize that actually that skill set is transferable across many, many different areas. So they kind of think they are straight pigeonholed in this one spot. So I think those are
Yeah.
probably the two mistakes I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are big ones.
Mm.
Well, Neil, I got a couple last questions before we wrap up. Favorite book? Well, first of all, you've got a book too, right? And so,
Mm.
you can list that first and then your favorite book after that,
Okay.
besides yours.
So yeah, so I've got two books that you
You
can
got two
get on
books.
Amazon. There's You Can, which is YUCAN, which is you can achieve any big goal with the 7P formula for success, which is my story of going through the Arctic, what I've learned, and then helping people achieve their big goals. And then I've got a book called The Value Selling, Whiteboard Value Selling Methodology, which is all about the sales stuff we discussed. I'm a big reader of personal development. I have been pretty much the last 20 years. A book that I've given a lot in the last year is Dan Martell's book, which is Buy Back Your Time.
Hmm.
And it's all about knowing what you're worth and outsourcing the stuff that isn't up to the salary that you would pay yourself. And I've religiously done that over the last 18 months.
I'm laughing because when you were just talking previously, when you were saying the mistakes, I was
Yeah.
thinking of that book and I couldn't get into my head what the title was, but I was thinking about that book and I was actually thinking about somebody that I want to recommend that book to. And then you just said it. So what perfect timing
Yeah.
is that? You were just talking about that particular topic and then gave me that book. So I appreciate you giving me that book because that's the book I want to recommend. It's a good one. Well, Neil, man, this has been great. Last question. What are your three pillars of wealth creation?
Yeah. So I think my three pillars, the first one links to that book actually, which is outsource as much as you can. I see too many people trying to build wealth and doing it all themselves and they just get overwhelmed. So outsource as much as you can. The second one is, and this was something I was taught by a wealth coach actually, is know your net asset value and know what your goal is for your net asset value. So where are you shooting for? And then build a plan to get there. And I think the third one is just be a constant learner. I know it's a bit cliche, but honestly, not enough people do it. And learning by reading and listening, watching is, watching YouTube, TikTok, stuff like that. You can learn from that, but you're going to learn more by reading and listening than you will from watching, in my opinion.
I just my son, he's in seventh grade, and he was it's well, they're listening to or watching a video, but it was talking about learning, and your brain actually lights up more when you read something versus listen to it, when you play music versus listen to it, when you
Right.
actually do the physical, like that type of thing versus just auditory, your brain actually lights up more and you learn more. So I
Oh,
thought
okay.
that
I
was
didn't know
really
that.
interesting. I
Yeah,
didn't think
okay.
about that before, but
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah. Well, again, Neil, really appreciate you. Appreciate the time. A lot of good stuff here. What's the best way our listeners can get in touch with you?
Yeah, thanks, Todd, for asking. So, look, the best way is neilthubron.com. So that's THUBRON.com. Because it's an unusual surname, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn. So, yeah, please connect. I'd love to connect with people.
Great. We'll put that in the show notes. Neil, man, you have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thank you, Todd. Great to meet you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. Say, I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. The It's a rating review, just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out, and we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.